The rain hammered the roof of the old Ford like 1,000 accusations, each drop a reminder that I'd crossed a line I couldn't uncross. Isaiah's breath was hot against my neck, his hand gripping my shirt collar with a desperation that mirrored my own, pulling me into the shadowed back seat where the world outside blurred into irrelevance. "Adrian," he whispered, voice cracking like thunder, "if this is wrong, why does it feel like the only thing that's ever been right? I never meant for it to start like this." Growing up in the sleepy suburbs of Seattle, Washington, life was a predictable rhythm of coffee runs, indie band gigs at dive bars, and endless gray skies that mirrored the quiet ache in my chest. I was Adrian Hayes, 18 and freshly graduated from Roosevelt High, the kind of guy who blended into the background, tall, lanky, with messy brown hair that always fell into my eyes and a smile that hid more than it revealed. Gay in a town where rainbows were more likely to show up on license plates than pride flags, I'd learned early to keep my truths tucked away like spare change in a coat pocket. My anchor was Mia Reynolds, my best friend since kindergarten finger paints and playground promises. She was the firecracker to my fuse, vibrant, unapologetic, with her wild curls and laugh that could shatter silences. We'd spent our teens plotting escapes from the drizzle-drenched monotony, road trips to Portland's food trucks, late-night drives blasting the National, dreaming of New York lofts and lives unbound by small-town expectations. Mia was my safe harbor, the one person who knew me inside out, even the parts one whispered only in the dark. But Mia had a brother, Isaiah, 3 years older. He was the golden boy who'd already conquered community college and was hustling shifts at the local REI while eyeing transfers to UW for environmental science. Isaiah Reynolds, broad-shouldered, with skin like polished oak from summers surfing at Alki Beach, and green eyes that held the Pacific's depth, stormy 1 minute, serene the next. He was the brother I never had, or so I told myself. We'd grown up orbiting each other. Mia dragging me to family barbecues where Isaiah would ruffle my hair and tease me about my emo phase band tees. He was straight-edge cool, the guy who volunteered at Habitat restores and fixed bikes for neighborhood kids, always with that easy grin that made you feel seen without trying. It was the summer after my senior year when the orbit tilted. Mia was off at a theater camp in the Cascades, leaving me adrift in the Hayes Reynolds shared cul-de-sac. I crashed at their place more times than I could count, but that July evening, the house felt different, empty, echoing with the absence of Mia's chaos. I'd stopped by to water their droopy ferns, a ritual she'd guilt me into, when Isaiah burst through the back door, soaked from a sudden downpour, his flannel clinging like a second skin. "Adrian? Shit, man, you scared me," he laughed, shaking water from his curls like a labradoodle, but his eyes lingered a beat too long, tracing the line of my jaw as I handed him a towel from the laundry basket. "Just playing plant nanny," I muttered, heat creeping up my neck that had nothing to do with the humid air. "Mia's ferns are divas," he toweled off, movements casual but charged, the kitchen shrinking around us. "Stay for dinner? Mom's got that lasagna thawing." Least I can do for saving the greenery. I should have said no. Grabbed my bike and pedaled home through the rain-slick streets, back to my empty house where Dad was pulling overtime at Boeing and Mom's latest wellness retreat left the fridge stocked with kale smoothies. But Isaiah's smile was a gravitational pull, and before I knew it, we were elbow-deep in garlic bread prep, shoulders brushing over the cutting board, the radio humming Fleetwood Mac's Landslide. That's when it shifted. A story about his ex-girlfriend from high school, some cheerleader who'd ghosted him after prom, led to confessions over second helpings. "Feels like everyone's got their script," he said, fork scraping the plate, voice low. But mine's all revisions. Like, what if the role I thought I was cast for isn't me at all? I nodded, heart thudding, because I'd felt that rewrite in my bones for years. Yeah. Like you're waiting for the director to yell cut on the wrong take. His gaze met mine, unflinching, the kind of look that strips you bare. Or maybe you just need someone to read the lines with you. The air thickened, charged like the storm brewing outside. We cleared the table in silence, plates clinking like unspoken words. Then, as I rinsed the sink, his hand brushed mine under the faucet, deliberate, electric. I froze, suds dripping, the world narrowing to that point of contact. Adrian, he breathed, close enough I could smell the rain on his skin, cedar and salt. I've been thinking. A car horn blared from the driveway. Mia, back early from a canceled rehearsal. The moment shattered. Isaiah stepped back, casual as ever, but his eyes held a promise, a question. I biked home that night with my pulse racing, the rain washing away nothing. The weeks blurred into a secret syllabus. Stolen glances at group hangs, texts at 2 a.m. about everything and nothing, his love for Grizzly Peak hikes, my obsession with Vonnegut's quiet cynicisms. Mia noticed the shift, ribbing me about finally growing a spine around her brother, oblivious to the undercurrent. You two are like peas in a pod now. Weirdos. One night, after a bonfire at Golden Gardens where the Salish Sea lapped at our feet and beers loosened tongues, Isaiah pulled me aside behind the driftwood stacks. The firelight danced on his face, casting shadows that made him look mythic, untouchable. It's messing with my head, he admitted, voice rough. But I can't stop, neither could I. Our first kiss was salt and smoke, tentative at the edges but fierce at the core. His hands framing my face like I was fragile, precious. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, the ocean's roar drowning our whispers. What are we doing? I asked, terrified of the answer. Figuring it out, he murmured, thumb tracing my lip. Together, summer unfurled like a forbidden map. Mornings at Pike Place tossing coins in the market fountain for luck. Afternoons tangled in his sheets while his parents thought he was at study group, the fan whirring overhead like a conspirator. Isaiah was a revelation, gentle in ways that unraveled me, his touch mapping constellations on my skin, laughter bubbling up in the quiet hours when vulnerability cracked us open. You're the plot twist I didn't see coming, he'd say, voice husky, pulling me closer. But secrets have half-lives. Mia returned tanned and buzzing, her theater tales filling the air, but her eyes sharpened on us. A misplaced hoodie in Isaiah's truck, a too-long hug at dinner, cracks forming. I pushed it down, told myself love like this was worth the risk, the lies by omission. In America's heartland of reinvention, we'd rewrite our story, right? Seattle's fog would swallow the rest. Yet doubt crept in like tidewater. Isaiah's silences grew, his texts sporadic, excuses about work piling up. One evening, as we lay spent on his childhood twin bed, posters of Yellowstone wolves peeling at the edges, he tensed. What if Mia finds out? She'd hate me, hate us. She loves you, I said, tracing the scar on his knuckle from a skateboarding wipeout. Loves me. We'll tell her when. A knock rattled the door. Isaiah? You home? Their mom's voice, cheerful, oblivious. He bolted up, shushing me, the spell broken. I slipped out the window like a thief, heart heavy with the weight of what we weren't saying. That night, staring at my ceiling fan's lazy spin, I wondered if love was enough to bridge the chasm, or if it would just echo back our fears. The first fracture came at Labor Day weekend, a backyard bash at the Reynolds with string lights twinkling like false stars and craft IPAs flowing. Mia had invited her new crush, a barista named Jordan with sleeve tattoos and a poet's lilt, and the air hummed with possibility. Isaiah and I played it cool, backyard cornhole partners, our throws synced like heartbeats, stolen brushes of fingers when no one looked. But Jordan's presence stirred something in Mia, a boldness that spilled over. "Adrian, truth or dare?" she called from the picnic table, eyes sparkling with mischief, the group circling like wolves in a rom-com. "Dare," I said, bravado masking the knot in my gut. "Kiss the person to your left." Laughter rippled. To my left, Isaiah. The yard froze. His face paled, then flushed, a storm in his eyes. "Mia, come on. It's just a game," she protested, but her tone wavered, sensing the charge. I leaned in, quick as a spark, lips brushing his cheek, platonic, deniable. The group hooped, but Isaiah jerked back, spilling his beer. "Fuck this," he muttered, storming inside. Mia shot me a look, confusion laced with suspicion. "What was that?" "Nothing," I lied, chasing after him. Found him in the garage, fists clenched around a wrench, the scent of motor oil thick. "Adrian, we can't." His voice broke. "Not like this. Not hidden. Then let's stop hiding." The words tumbled out, reckless. He laughed, bitter. "Easy for you to say. You're not the one who'd shatter her world." The door creaked. Mia, silhouette sharp. "Shatter what world?" We turned, twin deer in headlights. She crossed her arms, the lights casting her face in harsh relief. "Talk. Now." What followed was a dissection under the garage bulb's glare, confessions spilling like blood from a fresh cut. Isaiah's hand in mine, trembling. Mia's tears, hot and furious. "My best friend? My brother? How long?" "Since summer," I whispered, guilt a vice. She recoiled, betrayal etching lines on her face I'd never erase. "You both lied. To me. Get out." Isaiah reached for her. "Mia, please, out." The word echoed, final as a slammed door. We left in the downpour, my bike abandoned, crammed into Isaiah's truck cab, rain blurring the windshield like tears. He drove in silence, knuckles white on the wheel, until we pulled into Discovery Park's empty lot, the lighthouse beam cutting the night. "I'm sorry," he said finally, voice raw. "I love you, but this, it's breaking everything." Love. The word hung, a lifeline or noose. I pulled him close, our kiss desperate, tasting salt rain, regret, resolve. "We'll fix it," I vowed against his lips. "We have to." But as thunder rolled in from the sound, I wondered if some storms you couldn't outrun. Fall crashed in with a vengeance, leaves turning Seattle streets into a kaleidoscope of rust and gold, but the chill settled deeper than autumn's bite. Mia's silence was a wall, texts unread, calls diverted to voicemail, her Instagram stories a barrage of solo hikes and cryptic quotes about trust's fragile thread. Isaiah and I navigated the wreckage like tightrope walkers, our love a fragile bloom pushing through concrete cracks. We met in stolen slivers, coffee at Elliott Bay Book Company, huddled over lattes and dog-eared paperbacks. His foot hooked around my ankle under the table like an anchor. "She's talking to Mom," he confided one drizzly afternoon, steam curling from our mugs. "Not good. Thinks we're corrupting the family dynamic or some bullshit." I squeezed his hand, hidden by the menu. "Give her time. Mia's all heart, under the armor." He nodded, but doubt shadowed his eyes. The green dimmed to moss. Isaiah had always been the fixer, the one who mended fences with charm and chores, but this fracture ran soul deep. Nights, he'd sneak to my window like Romeo sans poison, climbing the trellis with boyish agility, collapsing into my arms where whispers turned to worship. His body against mine was revelation, strong lines yielding soft, sighs mapping the hurt we healed in flickers. "You're my compass," he'd murmur post-climax, fingers threading my hair, the room scented with sweat and sandalwood from my thrift store incense. "Even when the map's torn, but maps tear for a reason." Mid-October, Isaiah landed an internship at a Puget Sound conservation nonprofit, fieldwork tracking orcapods, the dream gig that lit him up like bioluminescence. This could be it. Adrian, real change, not just posters and petitions. Pride swelled in me, but so did fear. The hours meant distance, alibis thinning. Our first real fight erupted over it. In the cab of his truck parked at Gasworks Park, the silos looming like rusted sentinels against the sunset. I'd waited 2 hours after a canceled shift, rain pattering the roof like impatient fingers. "You ghosted me," I accused, voice sharper than intended. Again, work ran long, pod sighting off Bainbridge. "It's not about us." He raked a hand through his curls, frustration etching his brow. "Everything's about us now. Or have you forgotten?" The words landed like slaps, born of insecurity festering since Mia's exile. He flinched. "I haven't forgotten shit. But I can't drop everything for what? Stolen moments." I laughed. Hollow. "That's all we have, Isaiah. Moments, because the world's not built for more." His jaw tightened, the vein in his neck pulsing. "Maybe if you trusted me instead of assuming the worst." "Trust? Like you trusted me when you pulled away at the party." The accusation hung, venomous. Silence stretched, taut as a bowstring. Then, soft, I panicked. "For her. For us." His hand reached, tentative, but I jerked away, the cab feeling like a cage. Panicking's becoming a habit. I shoved the door open, stepping into the downpour, boots splashing puddles that mirrored the city's neon haze. He called after me, but I walked, the Space Needle's glow mocking our small drama. Reconciliation came via apology text at dawn. "Meet me at the locks? Bring your sorry ass." I went, heart a war drum, finding him on the fish ladder steps, watching salmon leap against the current, symbols of futile striving. "I'm an idiot," he said, pulling me down beside him, lips brushing my temple. "Scared shitless, but you're worth the fear." We made up there, amid the roar of water and wheeling gulls, his kiss tasting of salt spray and second chances. But the rift lingered, a hairline fracture widening with each dodged family dinner, each lie to cover our tracks. Mia's thaw was glacial. A neutral coffee at Vivace, her choice, neutral ground where she stirred her cappuccino like it held answers. "I get it," she said finally, eyes red-rimmed but steady. "Love's messy. But you should have told me. From the start." "I was scared you'd hate me," I admitted, palms slick on the mug. Her laugh was brittle. "Hate you, Adrian? your family. But Isaiah, he's my blood. And you two sneaking? It felt like betrayal squared. We talked for hours, excavating the hurt, her fear of losing us both, my guilt like lead weights. Promise me honesty, she said, hugging me fierce at goodbye. No more shadows. To Isaiah, she was sterner. A brother-sister summit at their mom's kitchen table, voices raised enough to rattle the wind chimes. I waited outside, chain-smoking menthols I swore I'd quit, until he emerged, drained but lighter. She's in, he said, collapsing against me on the porch swing. With caveats. Like, don't be gross in front of me, relief flooded, sweet as the first post-rain sun. We celebrated low-key, burgers at Dick's, then a drive to Snoqualmie Falls, where mist cloaked us like a veil. Under the roar, he dropped to one knee, not proposal, but promise, offering a smooth river stone etched with always. For the days doubt creeps in, he said, voice barely audible over the cascade. I kissed him there, water sheeting our faces, the world reduced to wet wool and warming skin. Love felt invincible, a force of nature. Winter whispered in with Thanksgiving frost, the Reynolds table a tentative truce. Mia sat between us, buffer and bridge, her foot nudging mine under the cloth in silent solidarity. Isaiah's hand found my knee, a secret Morse code of squeezes. Laughter flowed easier than the gravy. Stories of childhood Thanksgivings blending with tentative futures, Isaiah's internship tales, my acceptance letter to Seattle U for creative writing, Mia's audition callbacks. But betrayal brews in the quiet corners. Isaiah's coworker, Tyler, a lithe blonde with a surfer's drawl and eyes like tide pools, started as shop talk, evolved to late-night debriefs after shifts. Just venting, Isaiah assured, but the texts piled up, emojis I didn't recognize peppering his screen. Jealousy gnawed, irrational but insistent. One night, post-shift exhaustion curling him into me, I scrolled his phone while he slept, violation I regretted instantly. Miss our talks. Beers soon? From Tyler. Harmless, or harbinger. I woke him, phone thrust like evidence. What's this? Groggy confusion shifted to defensiveness. Jesus, Adrian, it's work. Tyler's going through a breakup, and you're his therapist now? Venom seeped, born of fear. Or maybe I'm just a friend. His tone sharpened, mirroring mine. Unlike some people who snoop, the argument escalated, words as weapons. My insecurities flung like grenades, his frustrations parried with sighs. You think everything's a threat? That's not love, that's control. I stormed out, barefoot into the sleet, pounding pavement to the waterfront where ferries ghosted the black water. Hours later, his call, come home. Please. I did, finding the apartment aglow with candles scavenged from kitchen drawers. Tyler's thread deleted, Isaiah's face etched with remorse. Forgive me, he begged, pulling me into the flicker. You're it. Only. We burned the doubt that night. Bodies a bonfire, but embers smoldered. The real storm hit New Year's Eve. Seattle's skyline a fireworks frenzy from our rooftop perch. Borrowed from a lenient landlord. Champagne pilfered from a corner bodega. Mia joined, her presence a bomb, toasting to truths unveiled. As midnight struck, Isaiah kissed me deep, the city exploding in light, Mia whooping beside us like a cheer squad of one. But dawn brought the deluge. A voicemail from Isaiah's boss. Internship extended to spring, Alaska fieldwork, remote tracking stations. Weeks of isolation. It's huge, he said. Eyes alight, but mine dimmed. How long? 2 months. Maybe 3. Hesitation crept in. Come with? Summer job up there. Couldn't, classes loomed. Mia's lease tangled with mine in a shared Capitol Hill walk-up. Go, I said, forcing brightness. This is your shot. The goodbye at SeaTac was airport hell. His duffel slung, my arms a vice around his waist, Mia hovering with awkward waves. Call every day, I demanded, voice muffled in his jacket. Every hour, he promised, kiss lingering like a bruise. He boarded, and the terminal emptied, leaving me hollow. Mia drove us home, radio soft with Bon Iver's ache. You'll be fine, she said, squeezing my hand. Love like yours? The bends. Doesn't break, but bends can snap. The first week, calls crackled with static, time zones, spotty service. Texts filled gaps. Saw a humpback breach today. Wish you were here. Hearts. Photos of glacial fjords that pierced like envy. Then, the lag. Days between pings. Excuses of no signal stacking like cordwood. Mia noticed, her worry a mirror to mine. He's just busy, she soothed over takeout foe, but her eyes said otherwise. Mid-February, package arrived, the Riverstone, returned with a note. Keeping it safe. Miss you. Relief, then rupture. A photo slipped inside. Isaiah arm in arm with Tyler at a Juno bar. Grins wide. Bottles clinking. Caption invisible, but the intimacy screamed. Betrayal's blade twisted slow. I confronted via shaky video call. His face pixelated in the cabin's lamplight. It's nothing, a team outing. With your vent, buddy? Sarcasm dripped. Poison. Adrian. Stop. Weariness lined him. This distance. It's warping us. Warping? Or revealing? The words escaped. Final. Silence. Then, maybe we need space. To breathe. The call ended. Screen black as my chest caved. Mia found me curled on the bathroom floor, sobs racking. He chose easy, I choked. Not us. She held me, fierce. Then he chose wrong. Spring thawed the city, cherry blossoms mocking my frostbitten heart. Isaiah returned end of March, tanned and distant, the internship a badge he wore like armor. We met at our spot, the locks where salmon still leaped, indifferent. I fucked up, he started, voice gravel. The isolation. It amplified everything. Doubts, fears, and Tyler, the name a gauntlet. A mistake. Kisses in the haze of too many whiskeys. Nothing more. Honesty. Raw. But it made me see. I can't lose you. Temptation tugged. Love's stubborn weed. But betrayal's scar puckered. You already did. We parted as seasons turned. Him to dorms at UW. Me to lectures and late shifts at Elliott Bay. Mia our fragile thread. Summer hummed on without us. A duet reduced to echo. Yet echoes call back. Late August. A festival at Bumbershoot. Crowds pulsing to indie sets under the monorail's hum. I was there with Mia, losing ourselves in the throng, when his text lit my screen. Rain again. Meet at the Needle Base? Heart Trader. I went. He waited, drenched, eyes pleading under the umbrella spines. I was wrong. All of it. The sky opened. Deluge biblical. We stood, water sheeting, words warring with want. Prove it, I challenged. voice lost in the roar. He did, pulling me close, kiss a torrent, apology in every press. Mia found us later, soaked and entwined, her sigh a benediction. Idiots. But mine. Autumn's second act painted Seattle in bruised purples and amber fires, the air crisp with espresso steam and fallen leaves crunching underfoot. Reconciliation with Isaiah was a rebuild, brick by tentative brick, coffee dates that stretched into midnight walks along the Burke-Gilman Trail, his hand in mine a quiet defiance of the ghosts. Tyler faded to a footnote, a cautionary tale we burned in late-night bonfires of our own making, pages of doubt fed to the flames. "You're stuck with me now," he teased one evening, sprawled on my dorm futon, legs tangled with mine, the room a cocoon of takeout cartons and half-read scripts. Seattle U's campus buzzed outside, students hustling to profs on climate fiction and queer lit, but here, we were our own syllabus. Promise. I traced the constellation of freckles across his nose, earned from Alaska's fleeting suns. Cross my heart. His kiss sealed it, slow and sure, the kind that rewrote endings. Mia played referee and reveler, her theater troupe overlapping our orbits in Capitol Hill's vibrant veins. Drag brunches at Julia's, poetry slams where her verses on sibling alchemy drew whistles and tears. "You two are disgustingly cute," she'd groan, but her arm looped ours in solidarity. The trio reformed, stronger in scars. Yet life's script twists without warning. Isaiah's classes ramped, environmental policy debates that kept him buried in tomes, his internship evolving to policy briefs for Soundkeepers Alliance. I dove into writing workshops, words spilling like confessions, short stories of boys loving fierce against backdrops of evergreen cathedrals. Our rhythms synced. Weekends a ritual of ferry rides to Bainbridge, picnics on beaches where seals barked approval, his head on my lap as I read aloud from Carver's Minimal Heartaches. But undercurrents stirred. A campus event Queer History Week panel drew us in, Isaiah fidgeting in the back row as speakers dismantled closets and claimed space. "It's wild," he whispered post-talk, over vegan tacos at Taqueria La Venadera. "All this history makes our shit feel small." Small? We're living it. Pride flickered, but his unease lingered, a shadow from straighter days. November brought Thanksgiving redux, this time at my folks a test of integrations. Dad grilled Isaiah on salmon runs over turkey, Mom's eyes misty at the nice young man holding my hand unashamed. Mia charmed with impressions, the table a tapestry of toasts, to found families, to forgiveness. Post-feast, Isaiah and I escaped to Green Lake, skates rented for a lap under sodium lamps, the water black as ink. "Your parents. They just accepted," wonder laced his awe. "They're hippies at heart. Boeing dad, yogi mom, love's their default." I spun him, laughter echoing. "Yours will too." His smile faltered. "Mom's warming, asked about that friend Adrian last call." But Dad, Reynolds Sr., a stoic long-hauler trucker, faith rooted in evangelical soil. He's old school. This might break him. We'll bridge it, resolve. But the seed of conflict took root. Winter solstice whispered warnings. Isaiah's dad, home from a cross-country haul, insisted on a family summit, dinner at their place, tension thick as the prime rib. Mia and I buffered, chatter about her off-Broadway dreams, my lit zine launch, but Mr. Reynolds' eyes bored into Isaiah, questions probing like drills. "So, son, that internship. Any girls up there catching your eye?" Casual, but the room iced. Isaiah's fork paused, my pulse thundering. No, Dad. Focused on the work. A grunt. Then good. A man needs roots. Proper ones. The implication landed. Gaze flicking to me, polite poison. Post-dinner exodus. In the truck's cab, Isaiah's hands shook on the wheel. He knows. Or suspects. Does it matter? I cupped his jaw, thumb soothing. Yes, fierce. I want his pride, not pity. The fracture widened come January, a cold snap gripping the sound. Isaiah threw into activism. A rally at California Anderson Park for trans rights, banners waving against the wind. His voice amplified on a megaphone. No one's disposable. I stood front row, chest swelling, but post-march beers with allies unearthed unease. You're out here, bold as brass. Tyler reappeared as a volunteer. Apology handshake awkward, clapped Isaiah's back. Proud of you, man. Isaiah flushed, glancing my way. Couldn't without support. Implied. But Tyler's linger, the easy banter, reignited embers. Later, alone, he's just an ally. I know. Lie jealousy a low-hum. Trust, fragile as hoarfrost. Climax brewed in February's fever. Valentine's, our first official, Isaiah planned a surprise. Hot air balloon over the Olympics. Dawn lifting us above cloud seas. Champagne chilled in a basket. Foreseeing the bigger picture, he said, arms around me as earth shrank. Up there, wind whispering, he pulled a box, simple silver band, engraved plot twist. Not forever yet. But always. Tears pricked. Joy a balloon of its own. Yes. God. Yes. Dissent grounded us, but euphoria crashed against reality. That night, buzzed on love, we FaceTimed Mia, ring flash, squeals echoing. About time, Reynolds' jeans catching up, but Dawn delivered the dagger. Isaiah's phone buzzed. Dad. Terse, need to talk. Now. We drove to their place. Gut churning. Finding Mr. Reynolds in the den. Bible open like a shield. Mia absent at rehearsal. Sit. Command. Not request. Isaiah obeyed. Me beside. Hand linked under the chair arm. Isaiah. I've prayed on this. Voice gravel. Eyes hard. Your mother's in denial. But I see it, the sneaking. The friend who's too close. This lifestyle, it's not God's plan. Isaiah stiffened. Dad, it's not a lifestyle. It's me. Loving Adrian. A flinch. Then fury. Loving? It's confusion. Sin. I've talked to pastor, he says prayer. Counseling. Change. The room spun. Change. Isaiah's laugh. Shattered glass. You'd erase your son for doctrine? Not erase, save. Pleading edged in. Desperate. For the family. Mia's future. Grandkids. Fuck that. Isaiah surged up. Chair scraping. You think love's negotiable? I've tried hiding. It nearly killed me, Mr. Reynolds rose. Face thunder. Then choose, this path. Or us. The ultimatum hung. A guillotine. Isaiah's gaze met mine. Anguish raw. I choose me. Us. Dissonance echo. Door slammed. Tires screeching as Dad peeled out. Bound for the road's anonymity. Isaiah collapsed against me in the driveway. Sobs seismic. I lost him. You gained truth. Hollow comfort. But Mia arrived then, wrapping us in her coat like a shield. We'll rebuild. Always do. Betrayal's aftershocks rippled. Isaiah withdrew, classes a blur, rallies skipped. Nights, he'd pace my dorm, ghosts in his eyes. What if he's right? What if I'm broken? You're whole? I'd affirm, pulling him to bed. Body's a bulwark. But doubt's whisper eroded. Our intimacy strained, touches tentative. Climaxes chaste but elusive. March Madness. A queer film fest at SIFF. Isaiah's pick for catharsis. We watched Moonlight Redux. Chiron's quiet rage mirroring his. Post-screening Q&A. He raised his hand. Voice steady. How do you forgive the unforgivable? Family that rejects the real you. Panelists reply, forgiveness isn't absolution. It's reclaiming your narrative. It ignited him. Next week, a letter to Dad mailed. Raw, I love you. But I love myself more. Doors open when you're ready. No reply, but the act anchored. Spring bloomed tentative. Tulips pushing through Capitol Hill planters like hope's stubborn fingers. Isaiah reemerged, co-hosting a GSA meeting, his vulnerability a beacon. Coming out's not a one and done, he shared, my hand in his under the desk. It's daily. But worth it. Our love deepened in the thaw. Weekends at Lake Union houseboats, cooking paella on hot plates, dancing to Coltrane vinyls borrowed from the library. You're my humanism, he said one dusk, sailboats dotting the water like prayers answered. Proof people can choose better. Mia's birthday bash, rooftop rager with fairy lights and queer karaoke, sealed the season. Isaiah sang Tiny Dancer, Eyes Locked on Me, Mia belting backup. As confetti rained, he pulled me aside. Marry me? Someday, someday. The word a horizon. But summers simmer conflicts anew. June heat wave. Isaiah's gig at a climate camp near Olympic Youth Outreach. Tents pitched in old-growth shadows. 2 weeks, he promised drop off. Kiss lingering at the trailhead. Miss you already. I waved him off. Gut twisting irrational. Mia and I filled voids. Pride prep. Rainbow flags strung from our balcony. Her directing a short on betrayed kin. Midway. A call? Isaiah. Breathless. Twist, Tyler's volunteering here. Coincidence. Ice in veins. Be careful. Always. But static swallowed more. The betrayal redux hit via Mia's frantic text. Check Insta. Now. Tyler's story. Grainy clip of bonfire circle. Isaiah's laugh prominent. Arms slung casual, too casual around Tyler's shoulders. Caption. Old flames. New growth? Flames. The word eviscerated. I drove up unannounced. Tires chewing gravel. Heart a hammer. Found them at the fire pit. Isaiah rising alarmed. Adrian? What? Saw the post. Voice steel. Though inside jelly. It's nothing. Tyler backed off. Hands up. Just camp shit. Isaiah pulled me aside. Tent flap zipping privacy. Jealousy's poison. You know that. Or truth serum. Tears hot. You chose easy again. No. Desperate grab. But I shrugged free. Choose. Isaiah. Me. Or the haze. He chose wrong, hesitation's fatal pause. I need time. Time. The thief. I fled. Forest blurring. Emerging at a ranger station payphone to call Mia. It's over. She met me at the ferry dock. Ferry chugging away empty. He'll fix it. Some breaks don't. July 4th exploded in isolation. Fireworks over the sound a mockery. Me alone on a pier. Bottle of microbrew warming in hand. Isaiah's texts pleaded, wait. Please. Deleted. Unread. Healing's jagged. Therapy sessions at the campus center. Journaling fractures into fiction. A novella submitted to a lit mag. Echoes in Evergreen. Queer Love's Elegy. Mia coaxed me out. Beach days at Golden Gardens. Her arm a lifeline. You're enough, she'd affirm. Waves lapping agreement. August whispered redemption's tease. A letter. Isaiah's script. Familiar ache. I chose wrong. Again. But you're my always. Forgive. Enclosed. The stone. The ring. A plane ticket stub, Alaska return. Solo. I met him at the airport. Crowd parting like fate's script. He looked wrecked, thinner, as haunted but real. I broke us, he started. Duffel dropped. Yes, no softening. Fixable. Try. The kiss was airport public. Defiant, passers-by blurring. His hands framing my face like homecoming. Mia waited curbside. Engine idling. Don't fuck it up. Bro, we didn't, not that summer. Rebuilt in layers. Couples counseling at a Pike Place annex. Vulnerabilities gym. Isaiah came out wider, family letter to mom, who wept but embraced. Dad's silence a distant thunder, but progress in a postcard proud. Somehow. Fall semester dawn joint. Shared electives. Study dates in Cesalo's alcoves. Love a co-author. Humanities in the mess, Isaiah said one eve. Lake Washington glittering. Ours included. The wheel turned to winter's embrace once more. Seattle's holidays a glitter of resilience. Evergreen trees strung with LEDs at Westlake. Chestnuts roasting under awnings slick with mist. Isaiah and I navigated the new normal like veterans of our private war. Weekly check-ins over foe at Babar. Dissecting doubts before they metastasized. His thumb circling my wrist a talisman. You're my anchor, he said post-argument autopsy. One where I'd snapped over a forgotten anniversary coffee run. Petty, but potent echo of old insecurities. We laughed it off in bed. Sheets tangled. His breath warm against my collarbone. Steady in the swells. Intimacy bloomed fuller. Uninhibited explorations in the dorms dim. Mirrors fogged. His body a landscape I mapped with reverence. The dip of his spine. The constellation scars from boyhood falls. Love you like this, he'd gasp. Vulnerable. And I'd hold him through the afterglow. Whispers weaving us tighter. Mia thrived in the triad. Her off-Broadway debut. A one-act on fractured families. Drawing us to the Hugo House stage. Tears streaming in the black box intimacy. Post-curtain. Roses in hand. Isaiah hugged her fierce. You nailed the ache. It's us, she winked. Looping arms. The Reynolds Hayes remix. But reinvention invites regression. Christmas loomed. Dad's postcard a fragile bridge. Home for the holidays? Doors cracked. Isaiah agonized. Pacing our shared apartment. Sublet victory. Capitol Hill walk-up with bay views. The Space Needle winking conspiratorially. Go, I urged, packing his bag with wool socks and that worn flannel. Test the waters. He returned New Year's. Lighter hugs exchanged. No sermons. Dad's handshake firm if wordless. Progress, he reported over midnight ramen. Fireworks popping distant. He asked about you. Called you solid. Solid. The word warmed. The foothold. Spring semester surged with ambitions. Isaiah's thesis on Orca communication. Nights bent over laptops in the library's hush. My fingers flying on novel drafts. Tides of us. A gay romance etched in Pacific ink. We balanced with breaths. Hikes to Rattlesnake Ledge. where vistas stretched endless. His head on my shoulder. This view? It's you. Yet conflict coils eternal. April showers birthed May flowers, but also Mia's bombshell. Accepted to a grad program in Chicago Second City Improv. Her siren call. 6 hours by plane. She soothed over farewell brunch at Le Panier. Croissants flaking like old skin. Not goodbye. Devastation hit Isaiah hardest. Sibling severance a fresh wound. She's our glue, he confessed. Voice muffled in my neck post drop-off at SeaTac. Her wave fading down the jetway. Will be ours. Resolve. But the apartment echoed emptier. Her absence a vacuum sucking at seams. Jealousy, that old serpent, slithered back via summer internship. Isaiah paired with a new colleague, Javier, sharp-jawed activist from LA. Tattoos of Aztec glyphs peeking from collars. Charisma like California sun. Just fieldwork. Isaiah dismissed my sidelong glance at group selfies, beaches, briefings. Javier's arm slung easy. Easy's the problem, I muttered. Pettiness surfacing over dinner at Ivor's. Clams steaming. He sighed. Fork midway. Trust's a muscle. Adrian. Flex it. I tried gym of grace. Reps of restraint. But Javier's texts buzzed frequent. Epic sunset today. You two should visit. Innocent. Or invitation. The snap came mid-July. Heat dome baking the city. AC sputtering in our flat. Isaiah late from a sound cruise. Whale watch with the team. Javier captaining the Zodiac. Paced. Beer sweating on the counter. When the door swung, him windswept. Grinning. Javier trailing with a six-pack peace offering. Adrian. Meet the wizard behind the waves. Javier's handshake lingered. Eyes appraising warm. Too warm. Polite thaw. But inside. Inferno. Beers shared on the balcony. Stories of breaches and biosonics. Javier's laugh a hook. Isaiah leaned into it. Relaxed in ways that stung collarbone brush. Shared glances like inside jokes. Post-departure. Confrontation brewed. What's with the glow-up around him? Isaiah's brow furrowed. Glow-up? Is camaraderie. Man. Work. Or flirtation. Accusation. Acid. Jesus. He raked hair. Frustration flaring. You're projecting. Again. Projecting? Or protecting? Voice rose. Neighbor's lights flickering on. He grabbed keys. I need air. This toxicity. Toxicity? That's rich. Coming from the guy with a trail of mistakes. The barb landed. Tyler's ghost invoked. Door slammed. Gone. Hours ticked. Panic's pendulum. Mia's midnight call from Chicago. Breathe. Talk it out. Don't torch it. Dawn found him on the couch. Eyes bloodshot. Apology etched. I overreacted. But the distrust. It's killing us. Tears mutual. Truths bared. My abandonment fears from Dad's workaholic voids. His rejection scars from family frosts. We're human, I whispered. Hands clasped. Flawed as fuck. Fuck. Yes. Laughter broke. Cathartic. Javier, ally. Not adversary boundaries set. Invites declined. August healed in heat. Road trip to Olympic Peninsula. Tent pitched at Calalock. Bonfires where we burned letters of letting go, doubts to ash. Rising on thermals. Renewal. Isaiah toasted with esmores. Marshmallow goo on his lip I kissed away. Back in Seattle. Fall's fanfare. Apple festivals at Pike. Isaiah proposing a podcast, Title Truths. Queer eco stories. my voice guesting on love's undercurrents. Listeners trickled, then flooded, DMs of you saved me, resonance rippling. But betrayal's boomerang arcs far. October, a conference in Portland, Climate Justice Con. Isaiah presenting. Solo, he assured, but Javier tagged as co-panelist. Road trip down. Gut check ignored. Trust's muscle flexed. Weekend past texts. Killing it. Miss you. Heart emoji chains. Monday return, him distant. Unpacking with mechanical moves. Good trip. Yeah. Intense. Hesitation. A chink. Spill. Sigh. Javier. Confessed. Likes me. More than friends. World tilted. And shut it down. Hard. Eyes earnest. But it stirred shit, old confusions. Confusions. Echo of his dad's venom. Not like that. Just, am I enough? For this life. The labels. The looks. Rage. Then revelation. You're everything. But if doubt's your companion, it's not. Fierce pull. Kiss claiming. You're my certainty. We dove deeper, therapy tandem. Unpacking closet's debris. Progress palpitated. Dad's call. Stilted but sincere, saw your pod. Proud. Bring Adrian for turkey? Thanksgiving redux. Reynolds table. Javier absent. Tactful decline. Mia zooming from Chi with pie critique. Dad's toast. To choices. And the men we become. Handshake to me, solid. Warmer. Winter solstice circle. Yule log at Discovery Park. Friends orbiting queer collective from the pod. Stories swapped like gifts. Isaiah's arm around me. Firelight gilding. This is the humanism us. Unbroken, but unbroken bends. New Year's blizzard blanketed. Trapping us indoors. Board games warped by wine. Bodies rediscovered in candle haze. Forever? He murmured, tracing my ring finger. Plot twist pending. Tease, but heart full. Spring's surge. Mia's visit. Improv workshops where we trioed sketches on family fumbles. Laughter therapy. Isaiah's thesis defense aced. Mine's novel agent snagged. Tides to print. Dedication. For the brother who became home. Yet climax crests unbidden. May. Pride Month dawn. A march Isaiah organized. Routes mapped from Cal Anderson to the square. Banners bold. Love without limits. I am seed. Voice amplified. We're here. Queer. And unapologetic. Crowd swelled. Rainbow rivers. But midway counter-protesters. Froth-mouthed with signs. God hates fags. Shouts clashed. Tension electric. Isaiah surged forward. Megaphone blazing. Hates the real sin. Love wins. A shove. Bigot's beefy hand. Sent him sprawling. Elbow cracking pavement. Chaos. Fists. Flashes. My scream lost in sirens. I cradled him amid the melee. Blood trickling temple. His eyes dazed. Adrian. Ambulance wail. Hospital sterile. Stitches. Sprain. But soul scars deeper. Dad arrived. Face ashen. Gripping Isaiah's hand. Son. I'm sorry. For everything. Tears. The dam. Hugs. Confessions. Dad's own hidden pains. A brother's loss to AIDS in the 80s. Fear's cruel inheritance. I was wrong. Love you, as you are. Redemption's reign. Isaiah. Bandaged but beaming. Worth the bruise. Summer simmered sweet. Recovery romps at Lake Sammamish. Paddleboards wobbling. Splashes dissolving stress. Mia's engagement news to Jordan. Ring simple, prompted hours. Beach proposal at Alki. Sunset surf. Isaiah on knee. Marry me. Make the plot permanent. Yes, gasped. Sand gritting knees. Kiss sealed with sea salt. Falls flourish. Wedding whispers. Small backyard affair. Mia officiant in curls and conviction. But betrayal's last gasp. Javier's wedding gift. A card. Innocuous. Happily ever after suit you. No undercurrent. Just closure. Humanity's arc. Flawed. Forward. The calendar flipped to winter's final bow. Seattle streets a silvered dreamscape. Icicles fringing awnings at Fremont's Sunday market. Breaths clouding in the chill as Isaiah and I bundled against the bite. Mittened hands swinging like pendulums of promise. Wedding plans wove through our days. Venue hunts at Woodland Park's Rose Garden. Playlists curated with Sufjan's ache and Joy Division's pulse. Invitations etched on recycled paper. Join our forever. Flawed and fierce. You're glowing. Mia teased over video from Chicago. Her bump just showing Jordan's hand cradling. Family fractal expanding. Domestic looks good on you queers. Isaiah flipped her off. Laughing. His elbow sling long shed. The marches mark a faint scar like a crescent moon on his brow. Just wait, your shotgun's next. Dad integrated. Tentative overtures. Fishing trips on the Duwamish, where he and Isaiah cast lines in companionable quiet. Words sparse but weighted. Your mom's baking pies again, he'd grunt. Proxy for I approve. Mom Reynolds, tearful at fittings, hemmed tuxes with trembling hands. My boy, both my boys, loves labor, humanistic in its humility. No pedestals, just people piecing paradise from potsherds. Spring erupted in verdant fury. Cherry petals confettiing our rehearsal dinner at a Queen and Bistro. Toasts toasting tides turned. Javier attended. Solo and serene, handshake firm. Toast gracious. To loves that endure. No shadows, just seasons cycled. The day dawned drizzly. Fitting Pacific right. Washing doubts downstream. Woodland Park bloomed riotous. Roses nodding approval under a canopy strung with Edison bulbs. The rose arbor our altar. Guests dotted the lawn. Pod peeps in rainbow pins. Mia radiant in lavender sheath. Dad's arm looped with Mom's. Eyes misty. Isaiah waited. Back to me. Silhouette sharp in cream linen. Curls tamed but rebellious. Mia's cue. Cello swell of hallelujah. Cohen's hush. I walked the aisle, pedals underfoot. Heart hammering, his turn. Green eyes locking. Vow unspoken, you. Officiant Mia. Voice velvet. Adrian Hayes. Do you take Isaiah Reynolds' plot twist? Anchor. Home. To honor in joy and ache. Through storms and sun. I do. Ring slide. Silver cool then warm. His thumb's kiss lingering. Isaiah's vows. Off script. Raw. You cornered my heart that rainy night. Adrian. Showed me love's not a script. It's improv. Messy and magic. I take you. All of you. Forever's draft. Cheers erupted. Kiss crashing like waves, salt lip. Crowds roar distant. Whirled us. Reception swirled. Craft cocktails at the lodge. Dances to Wonderwall. Ironic nod to straight boy youth. Cake smash with Mia's gleeful assist. Dad pulled Isaiah aside. Words lost in hubbub. But the clap on shoulder spoke volumes. Later. Over whiskey neat. You chose well. Sun. Night deepened. Stars pricking the clearing. Bonfire crackling confessions. We slipped away. Path to the azalea maze. Where fireflies danced like errant thoughts. Husband. Isaiah tested, grin boyish. Fiend, I countered, pulling him into the labyrinth's heart. Walls blooming blind. There, under Luna's gaze, we consummated gentle unraveling, clothes shed like old skins, his body arching under mine, gasps mingling with nightingale trills. Mine, he breathed, reversal tender, filling me with deliberate grace, eyes never leaving love's liturgy, sacred profane. Dawn crept, birdsong awakening, us entwined in afterglow's hush. What now? He murmured, fingers tracing my ring. Everything, kiss soft. Us, years unfurled like fern fronds, Seattle's rhythm our ballad. Isaiah's masters in enviropolicy led to sound conservancy directorship. Boardrooms battled for beluga bays, his passion a beacon. I taught lit at a community college. Tied sequel birthing workshops where students penned their truths. Queer kids finding voice in Vonnegut's voids. Mia and Jordan's twins arrived windy October. Chubby-cheeked whirlwinds we uncled via red ice. Her plays touring coasts. Dad softened fully. Pride floats waved. Grandkids' baptisms skipped for beach blessings. Mom's garden thrived. Roses for every anniversary. Conflicts came, as they do. Isaiah's burnout after an oil spill crisis. Nights he came home hollow. My novels flop stinging like rejection redux. Fights flared. Slammed doors. Silences sharp as shears. But we'd learned the dance, cool downs with walks to the locks. Salmon's leap reminding, persist. Betrayal's ghost visited once more. A decade in, Isaiah's mentee. Young firebrand named Riley, idealistic, intense, pushing boundaries in late-night strategy sessions. Texts innocuous escalated. Can't stop thinking about your fire. My discovery, casual scroll, ignited inferno. Confrontation in our kitchen. Rain lashing panes like old accusations. It's admiration, he swore, face paling. Admiration with asterisks, hurt honed to blade. Therapy redux, excavation raw. His midlife murmurings of am I enough? After a policy loss. Riley's gaze a mirror to unhealed doubts. I strayed in thought, confession carved. Not action. But wrong. Forgiveness's forge. Boundaries redrawn. Riley reassigned. Trust reforged in flames of frankness. We're not immune, I said, post-session, his head in lap. But we're intentional. Humanism's heart, growth in the grit. Climax revisited in Crisis's cloak. Isaiah's diagnosis. 42. A rogue cell in his lung. Shadow from secondhand smokes of youth's dive bars. Biopsies bite. Chemo's chill. Hospital gowns stark. My vigil constant. Mia flying in with twins drawings. Superheroes battling beasts. He fought fierce. Bald head gleaming under or lights. Humor his halberd. Sexy chemo glow. Ha! Laughter through tears. Love's litmus. Remission's whisper came spring equinox. Scans clear as cherry skies. Park bench. Post-discharge. His hand in mine. You carried me. We carried. Kiss. Sun warmed. Legacy layered. Foster parenting a teen runaway. Alex. Gender-fluid artist with eyes haunted as ours once were. Home in our chaos. Canvases cluttering the hall. Families chosen. Isaiah taught. Easel arm wrestling our rituals. Old age crept gentle. 60s silvering temples. Joints creaking like houseboats on the sound. Retirement. Cabin at Hood Canal. Porch swings creaking to loon's lament. Novels co-written, evergreen echoes. Our lives in fiction's frame. Final conflict. Dad's passing, quiet in sleep, Bible dog-eared to prodigal son. Funeral rains wept. Eulogy Isaiah's. He chose late, but he chose love. Hand in mine, closure's clasp. Isaiah's fade came autumnal. 75, heart faltering like a skipped stanza. Hospice bed. Our room overlooking the Olympics. Mountains mauve in mist. No regrets, he rasped. Fingers laced. Ring glinting. None. Throat tight. You were the change. His last breath. Soft as sigh. Eyes holding mine green to brown. Always. Grief's gulf. Months adrift. Seattle grayscale without him. Mia's arms anchor. Alex's art therapy. But humanism endures. Love's echo in every wave. Every word. 1 year on. All souls at the beach. Stone skipped. Inscribed always. Wind carried. And in it, his laugh. I live on. Writing the epilogue. Lectures on resilience. Dates tentative with a widower barista. Heart cracked but capacious. Isaiah's lesson. Love changes everything. Not to perfection, but to profound. In America's vast tapestry, flawed, fierce we wove our thread. Gay and unyielding, a story unfinished. Eternally hooked.